Welcome everyone to Garage Time. My name's Tom, and today I've been working on more of the sound insulation for the 356. There's 27 pieces that go in this car, plus the upholstery pieces. So I'm not gonna bore you guys with more of the trimming and fitting of that. I've already done 4 videos on that. And I've also been working on Mac. He has the bumpers attached. They've been painted, both front and rear. So I thought I would show you that and maybe talk a little bit about panel fitment, door gaps, build quality, whatever you want to call it. And I forgot to tell you that I didn't record the bumper painting process. I did a very thorough video, I thought, on the front bumper when I did the painting on that. Went over the whole process from primer to paint. So I'm going to put that video right here. No sense making the same video twice. So let's go have fun. Cold start, couple pumps. Close that big door. Sometimes it scrapes right here. It's a really steep driveway. PCH. Feel bad for my son is in Boston and they're getting some serious snow this weekend. But it's probably 68 right now and sunset, so another beautiful day in Southern California. So starting here in the rear, this is the part that I just finished, and the paint seems to look pretty good. We got the bumperettes on and they still have yet to be polished. So it's kind of bothering me. When it was primered, it looked okay, but now that it's painted, I think those really need to be polished. So maybe we'll get to that. Readjusted the muffler a little bit, it's pointing down more. But you can see I got the gaskets, everything fits really well. You know, these are the bumpers that were cut into thirds originally, and then the corners were cut in half and shortened so that they fit better. So the fitment of this was not easy to get right. Also, the deck lid is been modified here to get the gaps a little bit tighter. So all the way around, it's 3 millimeters. Even after paint, you can see the gaps are real simple, real even. I ended up welding a little bit of material back onto the deck lid in order to close up that gap. It was a little too wide here for my liking, and you can see it just barely clears when you open it. So you don't get it any tighter than that. That's about as tight as you can get it. Okay, now you can see this edge has been welded. This is what the edge looks like up close. Here's what the bumperettes look like up close. I really like how they just follow the lines of the car. The stock ones hang down a little lower, so I like this better. See how it just follows that right there? I'm not sure if I should have a gasket right here. I was thinking about adding a gasket right there, so I probably will do that. Probably the same gasket that's used on the cowl area would probably fit right there. This is my favorite view. This is the view that's on my shirt. This is what I really like the most. It's really clean, especially if you come up and you can see the flares just a little bit. The flares poking out. Moving on to the side, you can see I did do a lot of work getting this trim area to fit. So the gap there is real even along the top. The door gaps are also really consistent. This is 3 millimeters. Tried really hard to get the 3 millimeters. Even there on the bottom, 3 millimeters down there. Follow the gaps up here. Pretty consistent. So the methodology on getting all this stuff to fit, you got to remember, this is not an easy task for any car. This car started as a wrecked one, so these doors are from a different car. The fender, the deck lid, the hood, everything is from a different car. So getting them to match was no easy task. And the methodology that I used is to really take what's fixed, which is the cowl there on the front, and the flares on the back, the quarter panels. I lined up my door to get that rear gap and along the rockers. That part on my car wasn't wrecked. So, well, it was on the passenger side, but on this side of the car, it was pristine. So I was able to position the driver's door relative to the rear gap and the lower longitudinal gap or the rocker gap. And then after that, there was too big of a gap here at the front. And the only choice I had was to add more material. So I ended up using lead here. Also, I think I put a little bit of weld bead here on the fender. So that closes that up nicely. So that was done on both sides. This is the side that had some accident damage, and its gaps are as good, if not better than the other side, because I did spend a little more time on this side. So right there along the bottom, super consistent. Same thing, I had to add material to both of the door and the fender to get these gaps to close up. See the door gap here on the trim, real consistent. Really like that too. The gap there between the quarter window and the trim is also consistent. So all these things that were important to me and I spent so much time doing are actually looking really good. So the time I spent is really paying off. And then to position the fenders and to position the hood, that was really done after the hood was put on. So this part here on the cowl is fixed. So positioning this gap right here, this gap from here to the other side is what determines the position of the hood. And then to get the gaps along the side, that's where you can shim the fender, you know, in and out. The fender goes in or out based on the number of shims you put in there. So that's a little bit adjustable with shims. And then the length is really just determined by, you know, the door gap there, and there's a little bit of wiggle room here at the front. So you can see how these pieces fit together. It fits with the chrome grille. It fits just about even. And if you also remember, these are not long hood fenders. These are short hood fenders that I extended myself. Everything from this portion down has been added. And the brackets, everything has been added by me. And same with the hood. The whole front section of this hood, the long nose part, has been added. I kind of like how that part looks. Of course, the RS bumper is fiberglass. Lots of work to get that to fit. Ended up heating it and bending it to get it to work. but I really like the look of it now. Before someone says something, I am going to replace these with the H1 headlights. Those will be replaced here soon. So that's, for the most part, that's the exterior of the car. I am considering adding, obviously, the front oil cooler, so there's not a big hole in there. When I get the 6-cylinder engine, I will certainly be using the oil cooler, and also the H1 headlights. Other than that, I may improve the size of this mirror a little bit. This is a 356 mirror. It's a 3-inch. I could go up to 4-inch, and that might make the visibility just a little bit better. So I have one, I haven't put it in yet. We got to put the trim on the front window. We got to put the windshield wipers in, paint that little grill there in the middle, but mostly the exterior is done. We got a gasket or two to replace here on these quarter windows. But that, you know, for the most part, it's done. I have some new lenses too for the rear. I haven't put them in yet because I'm trying to get these gaskets to relax a little bit with the old ones. Once the gaskets relax a little bit, I'll put the new URO lenses in. They're gonna look great. They're a little bit more amber color to them, so it'll complement the yellow a lot. Tire sizes here, 15 by 7 in the front, 15 by 8 in the back. It's 225 rubber by 60 series. Fronts are 205. I am seeing a little bit of relaxation of the seal here in the front. This corner here on the driver's side has dipped down just ever so slightly, so that can be adjusted with a shim underneath the hinges. So to get the elevation of the hinge, or to get the elevation of the hood, you can shim the back side of it. That's pretty simple to do. Let me show you on the deck lid. Here's an example on the deck lid where I added some shims. You see those 3 washers right there? That's what controls the elevation. So you can position the gap this way, but to get the elevation adjusted, you have to put some kind of shims there between the hinge and the deck lid. And so at least that's how I did it. And you can see it's done on both sides. Get it in just the right light. A lot of these body gaps just disappear. I haven't installed that torsion bar hole there. I would like to get that in. I prefer to have those smoothed out, so I have it painted, I just haven't put it in yet. Another small detail that I've done is I have painted the jack spurs. They basically are, you can't even really see them, but right there is the jack spur. Just painted it black. I also cut about 1 inch off of it, so because I'm not using the stock rockers on this car, cutting it a little shorter just makes it a little bit less visible. More detail to be done here. I need to trim this seal. I wanted to give it some time to relax on its own. Sometimes they shrink over time, so I'll go back and trim that and make sure it's not poking out like that. You can see I got the gasket there in between the headlight and the body. I still haven't done the other side. The other side just has a little bit of tape up there. This looks like a paint chip, but it's actually not. That's just a little tape to prevent the paint from rubbing. But I have the gasket for that. I need to add that in. You can see I have a chrome mirror from an earlier car. I like that chrome mirror, especially with the one here on the side. I think they complement each other. Pretty happy with the way that looks as well. No hubcaps on the wheels. That centerpiece there is plated, so I need to plate the other side to match. Now that it's getting dark, we'll do some shots with the lights on. So I'll go over more of the suspension modifications as those get finished, but there's a lot of chassis modifications done to this car. You can kind of see the roll bar poking through there, but lots of things to stiffen the chassis. Really like it so far. We'll do that on a different video. This one's really just about panel fitment and build quality, which I said a long time ago, really big on build quality. So I'm trying the best I can on this car. There's a shot of the back. I've yet to clean these wheels. Look how dirty the wheels are. It's just a lot of brake dust on the back here. Paint's kind of dirty too. Got to clean. All this collects dust that's just been sitting in the garage. Need to get it cleaned up. Go for another ride. Let's take it back home and see if we can't polish these bumperettes. One of my favorite parts of this car.